How did this rebel spy become the self-sacrificing hero we met in Star Wars Rogue One? And was this prequel series following Cassian Andor really renewed for a second season before the first season even comes out? Here's what you need to know before watching Andor Season 1. So far, the only footage that's been revealed from Andor comes from the show's first teaser trailer. While there's little dialogue and even less in the form of plot details, the trailer does give a pretty good impression of the overall tone of the show, and it's pretty grim. Fans of Rogue One will know it's one of the darkest Star Wars stories to date. Andor definitely seems to be pulling from that legacy, and the teaser shows the abject terror and torment inflicted on regular galactic citizens by the Empire. The Andor teaser covers a lot of ground. There are shots of a few different planets facing down Imperial invasion, glimpses of Mon Mothma navigating dangerous political situations in the Imperial Senate, and of course some exciting action moments featuring Andor himself. Overall, the footage emphasizes the human aspect of the series, a story that seems to really be focusing on how life under an oppressive regime impacts the lives of ordinary people and drives them to radicalization.
I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
If Andor dives fully into these deep thematic waters, the result could be the best Star Wars series yet. Star Wars Rebels told plenty of its own stories in the same era, but with a massive budget and the permission to be more mature, Andor could bring a whole new level of intensity to the galactic civil war. Given how long Rogue One has been out, it's not exactly a spoiler that Cassian Andor, like most of that film's characters, meets his end by the time credits roll. His noble sacrifice helps the rebellion acquire the Death Star plans, making Luke Skywalker's raid on and destruction of the battle station possible in Star Wars A New Hope.
If the rebels have obtained a complete technical readout of this station, it is possible, however unlikely, that they might find a weakness.
And with that in mind, Andor will be more of an origin story for Cassian. A tale that shows the brutality of Imperial rule through the lens of his radicalization. In a 2022 interview with Vanity Fair, Diego Luna and series creator Tony Gilroy confirmed that Andor Season 1 will begin 5 years prior to the events of Rogue One, following Cassian from the destruction of his home planet to his early involvement with the Rebel Alliance. Luna told Vanity Fair, "It's a journey of a migrant. That feeling of having to move is behind this story very profoundly." In the same Vanity Fair interview, Gilroy revealed that Genevieve O'Reilly's Mon Mothma, a character first introduced in Return of the Jedi, will also play a huge role in the story. As one of the key leaders of the Rebel Alliance from its early days to the end of the war, she's certainly an interesting character to include, and it should be interesting to watch her grow into the leader seen in the original trilogy. Obviously, Diego Luna is the main star of Andor, as his character's name is literally the title of the show. From what's been revealed so far, it seems that Genevieve O'Reilly will have the next largest role in the series, with her version of Mon Mothma serving as a kind of counterpoint to Cassian. O'Reilly first played the character originated by Caroline Blakiston in Revenge of the Sith, and she has since reprised the role in both Rogue One and as a voice actor for Star Wars Rebels. In addition to the two leads, a number of other notable actors have been announced for the show, many in undisclosed roles. Veteran actor Stellan Skarsgård will play a new character named Luthen, and Adria Arjona will play an as-yet unnamed character. The rest of the announced cast includes Denise Gough, Kyle Soller, and Fiona Shaw. In his Vanity Fair interview, Gilroy said that his scripts include 211 speaking parts, and probably 75 people in there who really matter, teasing a massive ensemble cast when all is said and done. Disney has confirmed that Andor will premiere on Disney Plus on August 31st, 2022, kicking off what will presumably be a weekly release schedule akin to the streamer's previous Star Wars and MCU shows. The show was originally meant for a 2021 release, but COVID-19-induced delays caused the series to be pushed back. By the time it premieres, Andor will be Disney's fourth live-action Star Wars streaming series, following The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. However, it also won't be the last Star Wars show to debut on the platform in 2022. Season 2 of the animated series Star Wars The Bad Batch, which follows a team of renegade clones in the wake of Order 66, is set to premiere on September 28. That date should fall in the middle of Andor Season 1, meaning the two shows will air simultaneously. Hollywood veteran Tony Gilroy serves as creator and showrunner on Andor, which should give fans of Rogue One reason to be optimistic. Gilroy served as a screenwriter on the original film, so he's definitely familiar with the Cassian Andor character. However, he's probably better known as the writer of the first 4 Bourne movies, and as the writer and director of Michael Clayton, for which he was nominated for 2 Academy Awards in 2008. Other writers on Andor include Gilroy's brother and frequent collaborator Dan, Stephen Schiff, who wrote several episodes of The Americans, and Beau Willimon, the showrunner and writer on House of Cards. While Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy will serve as an executive producer, other recent Star Wars reliables like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni aren't involved in Andor. In addition to his starring role, Diego Luna also serves as an executive producer. In a 2022 interview with Empire, Andor showrunner Tony Gilroy confirmed that Season 1 would consist of 12 episodes. That's potentially great news for fans, as it's the longest episode count in a single season of any live-action Star Wars show to date. To compare, each season of The Mandalorian so far has consisted of 8 episodes. The Book of Boba Fett ran for just 7 episodes, and Obi-Wan Kenobi wrapped up after only 6. The higher episode count will hopefully give Andor time to develop its many characters, but it could also be an opportunity for the series to slow down a bit and really build out the world of the Imperial era. Because the series will be mostly free of ties to the pre-existing canon, it has the opportunity to really flesh out new corners of the Star Wars universe and show previously unseen effects of Palpatine's tyrannical rule. While it might be premature to presume the quality of Andor at such an early stage, fans may still enjoy learning that preparation for Season 2 is already in the works. Speaking with Vanity Fair in 2022, showrunner Tony Gilroy confirmed that Andor Season 2 is on the way, but it sounds like the series may cap out at just 2 installments. He told Vanity Fair, "It is the second season, but it's really, for me, the second half of the novel. The first season is about him becoming a revolutionary, and the second 12 episodes take him into Rogue One." That quote would seem to confirm that Andor Season 2 will be the same length as Season 1, making the full show a beefy 24 episodes. Because the titular protagonist is already known, there's a lot of interesting room in there to explore Cassian's journey. If done right, the show could even make Rogue One better in retrospect, fleshing out Cassian's motivations and giving his final mission even more emotional weight. Andor begins 5 years before the events of Rogue One, and according to Tony Gilroy, most of that time will be covered over the course of Season 2, not Season 1. The showrunner explained in a 2022 interview with Empire that directors worked in blocks of 3 episodes, meaning Season 1 was 4 blocks of 3 episodes each. When the same filming structure was adopted for Season 2, the team decided to change up the flow of time a bit, using each block to represent a year. In other words, Andor Season 1 will take place over the course of roughly 1 year, slowly setting the stage for Cassian's prolific career as a rebel spy, and Season 2 will speed things up by jumping forward about a year every few episodes. This asymmetrical structure could give the 2 seasons a wildly different sense of pace, which will hopefully keep things feeling fresh. There's also an implicit rise in momentum in the Season 2 structure, which builds naturally towards Cassian's ultimate sacrifice in Rogue One.
I had orders that I disobeyed, but you wouldn't understand.
With Andor being set 5 years before the events of Rogue One, a lot of what occurs will happen at the same time as the events of Star Wars Rebels. However, due to how divided the Rebellion is at this stage in the Star Wars timeline, there won't necessarily be a ton of overlap with the animated series, especially since it's targeted at a much younger demographic. However, Rebels does give some good clues about what the state of the universe will be like in Andor. Since scenes have been confirmed in the Imperial Senate, high-ranking officers of Palpatine's government and military force could play important roles in the story. This means that Andor could finally be the show to bring Grand Admiral Thrawn to live action, as he was very active in the years leading up to Star Wars A New Hope, though he hasn't been confirmed or even hinted at so far.
They'll be the architects of their own destruction.
Andor will also be set just a few years after the events of Obi-Wan Kenobi, meaning that characters from that show like Moses Ingram's Reva could appear as well. Cad Bane, Fennec Shand, the members of Clone Force 99, all these characters and more have the potential to show up in Andor, especially since the show will cover such a large swath of time. Aside from Rogue One, which seems like required viewing before going into Andor, there are a lot of other Star Wars movies, shows, and even video games that will surely add context and depth to your experience. As it's set during the same spot on the timeline, and because it also deals with the early Rebel Alliance, Star Wars Rebels seems like the best place to start. While its tone is quite different from what Andor appears to be going for, it covers similar ground in terms of the state of the Empire, public sentiment regarding Palpatine's regime, and the nature of the conflict against it. Rebels is pretty long though, so if you're looking for some briefer viewing materials to get you ready for Andor, there are plenty of other great stories set during the Imperial era. Star Wars The Bad Batch shows the very first stage of Imperial rule, and it also spends a lot of time in the seedy galactic underworld that Cassian Andor will likely inhabit in his own series. Obi-Wan Kenobi paints a pretty vivid picture of the Empire's power and its methods of silencing rebellion, while Solo, a Star Wars story, has some fun details about what life looks like between Star Wars Revenge of the Sith and Star Wars A New Hope. Of course, if you'd rather play a video game than watch a bunch more TV, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is a great place to start.
The next generation of Jedi.
The Empire will be after him.
Every live-action Star Wars streaming series to date has been rated TV-14, even Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is arguably the darkest of the lot. Despite its grim narrative and the downtrodden state of the galaxy at the time, Andor will likely receive the same rating. At the end of the day, Star Wars is still a family-first franchise, and Disney probably won't be compromising that stance anytime soon. It doesn't preclude Andor from handling serious storylines or themes, however. From Cassian's status as a refugee to the oppressive rule of Palpatine's autocratic regime, there's a lot of rich, meaningful, and relevant material for the show to pull from. By its very nature, the series will deal with the concept of radicalization and what it takes to turn a seemingly ordinary person into a martyr. That's a pretty heavy place to start from, and if Andor pulls it off, it could deliver a powerful and nuanced Star Wars narrative even with the TV-14 rating. That means that while the level of violence and sexual content may be well within what you'd expect for Star Wars, the thematic content may be a good deal more mature. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite Disney Plus shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.